Hold your butts. It's time for Jet Set Classic. Jet Set Classic. This track ain't seen the light of day in close to 30 years. Once I dust it off a little, I'm gonna let her rip, so listen up.
Alright, we'll be getting started in just a moment here. We'll be corrupting Sonic for the Sega Genesis.
Don't involve ganja, booze, or beer. Party favors after shows. Dressing rooms full of those. Players looking to propose a toast. Nope, I've been around the world, but like my bedroom the most. So you know I won't go away. I got the golden voice, even a ventriloquist couldn't throw away. I need understanding, my presence is demanded. Buy some merch and maybe I can spin it on a stand-in. One mellow, cause the two is seeing double after about 3 drinks. So before I get into trouble, slap you 5 and grab a taxi. Don't even have to ask me if I'm tired, y'all stay wide like old telephones. I need my time alone in my home. Create my zone, prone, cutting them with an old movie on, and I'm gone. So if you're calling me to come back to the streets and get freaked, please, I ain't even trying to get 24-hour party, people don't sleep, don't drink, don't eat like we do. I'd leave you be if you leave me be too, but I can't see you when you need to. Get in trouble, you just want to get in trouble. Do the hustle, everybody do the hustle. Get in trouble, you just love to get in trouble. Do the hustle, everybody do the hustle. You gotta understand, I wish I could live like you, but I can't be a man. Don't bet on intuition, just understand, you know
Alright, we'll get started here. That's from Too Mellow, Memories of Tokyo, tribute to Jet Set Radio. Alright, I'll be doing sort of what I normally do, is sort of do a walkthrough of how I go through the corruption, how I harvest the corruptions, and how I upload the corruptions. We have our 3 main windows here. On the left we have the real-time corruptor, in the middle we have the glitch harvester, down here, and off to the far right we have the actual emulation that we're corrupting. Again, we are doing Sonic. Let me slow down the speed here. There we go. Ooh, and I forgot a controller. That's also too loud. Let me grab a controller real quick. Okay, great. We are good to go. And let's see if I need to restart the emulation. I don't believe I do. Nope, we're good to go. And off the bat, we're just going to create a save state. Let me turn that down a little bit more. Or at least for my end. I think it's alright for you guys' end. We're going to create a save state just directly within Hedgehog. And that will allow us to test a couple things, double check which memory domains we can corrupt, and which ones produce the most interesting results for us. So we're going to do that. Now we're going to go over the real-time corruptor and take a look at the memory pools that we have available to us. I've actually never corrupted the Sega Genesis before, so I'm not familiar with the memory pools specifically and what they are. However, off the bat, we're only having 3 of the memory pools that are automatically being selected, so we don't have a lot we can play with at the moment. I might actually need to look up what the memory pools are as we go along to make sure we can still mess with them without, you know, actually messing with the ROM itself. So we're just gonna mess with 68K RAM at the moment, and we'll try some manual blasts of the game. This will be happening in real time, so we should be able to just take an eye at the actual emulation and see if anything happens. We're not seeing anything yet, so we might want to boost up the intensity. I'm gonna load the save state so there's no enemies on screen, and I'm gonna increase the intensity here. So I'll bring it up to 50. And we'll try some more manual blasts of corruption towards the ROM. One interesting thing that happened there is it sounds like some of the sound effects died, and also Sonic sounds died. Oh, and yeah, that didn't take a lot. Oh, and the camera's all fucked here too. Alright, since I don't want to miss out on any other interesting ones like this, I'm going to jump straight over here to the glitch harvester down here. We have a save state, which I created a little bit earlier, which is just, I believe, at the beginning of the level. Now I might need to recreate. We'll jump in here. Okay, I'm going to create another save state, just here on the slot. Nope, nope, that's the simulation. There we go. I'll create a save state here. And now we're good. We can load that save state. And we're going to blast that with the same amount of data as before, 50 bytes. 50... Is it 50 bytes? Well, 50 intensity. To see if we get anything from it. And since we're only hitting this once, as opposed to 5 or 10 times before, we're going to up the intensity a little bit, up to 200. To hopefully get the same result. Okay, so not too much there. We might even up the intensity just a tad more. I'll bring it up to 300. There's our first crash. Couple more crashes. There's a good one. It looks like all the shadows are being drawn red. Or not all shadows, the palm tree shadows at least, and the ones in the background. Any greenery shadows. Alright, cool lookout, but not amazing. We're not going to throw it on the stockpile or anything like that. We'll keep going. There's a crash. This one has some interesting visuals. Part of the music's messed up. We just got the drum set. Okay, well, nothing amazing on that one either. We're We're gonna keep going. We're even gonna up the intensity more, bring it up to 500. Oh, I looked at the wrong save state there, I think. Oh no, that's the right one. Alright, nothing much yet. We'll keep blasting more corruption towards it. See if we get anything out of this. A little bit of music corruption. Some visuals here and there. Oh, that's neat. It says if there's an illegal instruction. I've never actually seen that before. And the memory address that is that. Sounds like the music's skipping it a little bit. Yeah, it only gets the first note up. But when it reloads the next song, that seems to be alright. So it's not the actual music interpreter, it's just the song itself. Oh, well. It mostly sounds alright. Well, nothing too amazing yet, so we'll keep moving. I'm going to try switching the blast type from random bits of data to tilt data, which will just increment and decrement values it finds, which will give us different results, hopefully. Kind of odd results on the brass section. The camera will move on that one. Messed up sprite, but unfortunately I can't move at all in this one. Huh. Just some garbage on the left side. What was that? What was that? That was Sonic! That's another Sonic! Do I have to keep him alive? Does he jump with me? He does! Ooh. You know what? Let's... And if he dies, I die. Oh, this is an interesting corruption. Alright. What we're gonna do for this is because there's a lot of other corruptions going on at the same time. And let's see also, does it persist after death? Doesn't look like it, unfortunately, so it's only the one life. But what we can do is we're going to try cleaning up that corruption a bit to see if we just get it where Sonic, the second Sonic, appears. So we will take, let me pause this real quick, the history of that last corruption, this one here, and we're going to right click it and select open selected in Blast Editor. And let me open the Blast Editor on the screen. Here it is. And essentially, this is the corruption that I created. It's what's sending it to memory when this corruption gets loaded. So what we want to do is we want to just narrow down that corruption to the bare components of it. And how we're going to do that is we're going to slowly remove some of these corruptions, remove some of these random bits of data being sent to memory, and hopefully the corruption will still persist. If it doesn't, then we don't remove it. If it does, then we keep knocking it down. So... grab this here, adjust it a little bit. Nope, that was right. Okay. And I have the game paused. Let me unpause it. Shoot, I'm playing with one window in OBS that isn't behaving properly. Okay, well that's fine. So, we're gonna start removing corruptions. Oh, actually, I want to see the window. That's what I was doing. So I'll put it up here, just so you can still see the emulation. And we're gonna randomly disable half these values, and try loading the corruption to see if the issue persists. So, while Sonic is still really messed up, we still see second Sonic, which is great. That's what we want. So we're going to remove the disabled corruptions that we had randomly disabled, and we're going to keep doing that. Okay, great. That still works. We're gonna remove everything that's disabled and randomly disable another half. Great, that still works. Okay, in this case, the second Sonic doesn't show up. So we're not going to want to do that. We're going to invert the ones that we disabled and see if he shows up in these corruptions. In which case he does, so we're going to remove the disabled now. Same case with this one, we don't want the we don't have the corruption that we want, so we're going to invert and load, make sure it's still there. And it is, so we're going to remove. And the idea is just to get this down to just a couple memory writes, which we're doing now. 2 or 3 if we can. In this case, we got down to 2, so it's either one of these instructions is doing this entire corruption, or they're both simultaneously doing it. And it looks like it's just this one. So we're gonna remove that one. And just this one corruption is the responsibility for this. Which is a little unfortunate for some parts, because what I wanted to do was I wanted to hope that we can manipulate how the second Sonic acts, but in this case he died. So, you can't see too much, but I think it's still interesting. So we're going to throw this on the stockpile. We'll call this, 2 Sonics. And we can make a note on this one. The note will say, there are 2 Sonics on screen. Both share the same health pool. Both share the same ring pool. If one dies, you both die. And it's a good enough note, so if anyone tries running that corruption, they'll see that. Alright, and we'll return back to here, and run it one more time to make sure everything's working alright. Yeah, alright, I'm happy with that. So, let's go and cross some more. I'll clear my history out and hide the blast editor. There we go. And we'll see if we can get some more corruptions. Okay, this one looks neat. I don't know necessarily if I want to keep this one, but yeah, why not? Yeah, we can clean this one up a little bit. So, let's open this in the blast editor, and we can just do something like Sonic at Night. I want to remove that audio bug if you can hear that, so I want to try to remove that if possible. It sounds kind of like a waterfall, Open up the blast editor here. Corrupt, right? And we're going to randomly disable half the corruptions that we sent to memory, in order to hopefully just narrow this corruption down to its bare minimum parts. In this case, we don't have the corruption we want, so we're going to invert the disabled ones, and hopefully this achieves the effect we want. And actually, it had some lights before that I want to keep, so let me go back, randomly disable another 50%, and see if this keeps the effect. And it does in this case, so this is exactly what I want. And now we just removed half the addresses that we sent to memory, and hopefully made it a little more stable in the end. And we can keep doing that until we are about happy with the result. That's good. Sonic's still movable. Not happy with that, so I'm going to re-roll. Gonna re-roll again. It also does sound like we already removed the audio bug, so the music is back to normal, which is perfect, so we still have this nice little effect going on. Okay, we're getting it pretty small, which is great. Yeah, alright. So at this point, since we only have about, 10 or 12 here, we're going to individually go through each corruption that's being sent to memory and double check which ones actually achieve the effect that we're looking for, because we know what all of these do, and we can just slowly pick and remove ones, instead of just trying to rely on randomness to do it. So I immediately know this last one here is actually that sort of coloration effect that we're looking for, so we're going to keep that. We could probably remove this one. And this one's the Unite effect we're looking for, so we want to keep that one. Remove that. And I'm just guessing we can move the rest of these. Yep, and that's the case, so we're going to remove disabled. And we narrow this entire corruption down to just 2 memory writes, one in which blackens the screen, and the second one, it looks like it kind of keeps shadows, because you can see the palm trees up here. So it's like neon shadows. And yeah, I kind of like the effect. It's Sonic After Hours, so I'm going to name this. So we'll throw this on the stockpile. Call it Sonic After Hours. I'm going to put a note on this one as well. We'll say, screen has been blackened. And only yellow shadows remain. Well, is it even yellow shadows? No, it's only and a few shadows are all that Sonic has to see. Why not? Okay, happy with that. Let's send some more data to the memory. Oh, and I accidentally paused it. And something I actually want to try before we do this is re-rolling our corruptions. So this one works alright, no problems. I want to see if we can get some different results with the corruptions we already have. Because, if you can, then... Actually, do I still have that in memory? Oh, it'd help if I have my stash history. I think you need it in your stash history in order to re-roll it. I might be wrong on that, though. Let's try clearing. Select re-roll. Okay. So I just want to keep re-rolling this to see if we get a different result from the corruption we already made. Most of the time, you may not. It depends on what kind of corruption it is. Like this one, hey, we got a little bit of a different color, which is neat. I won't be adding that, but unless it's a lot of colors, which it's not in this case. That'd be neat if every shadow was the only thing that was guiding. That'd be fantastic. So I'm not seeing too much, so again I might just leave this one be. I want to double check also with 2 Sonics, if we can re-roll this one. Alright, well anyways, nothing from that, so we're gonna do some fresh corruptions here. Did I reroll? I think I rerolled. Do that or we got second Sonic again. Let me check my save state. Oh, my save state's alright. What am I doing wrong here? Why do we keep getting 2 Sonics? Oh no, we're right. It's just a common corruption. Okay. You know, I'm curious. I haven't actually done this yet, but the corruption that's making these palm trees have that red color. I'm wondering if I can take that corruption, you know, narrow it down to just the bare minimum again in the blast editor, figure out specifically what's making that corruption happen, take that corruption and put it in Sonic After Hours so we get some neon kind of thing going on. And you know, I have plenty of time, so I want to give that a try because I'm not. Let me open up. I saw the blast editor over here. I don't know if I can specifically state corruptions like. Can I add a row? I guess I could always. Well. Yeah, let's give it a try. I'm curious. Well, I'm very indifferent towards this. I think, since this might take a while to do. Open blast layer generator. Is that what I'm looking for? Add row. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Okay. I'm deciding. I would also need another window, which I have a lot of windows on screen right now. Let's, for the time being... Yeah, I want to try it. Let's try it. So we're going to open this corruption in the blast editor, which we're going to do now. So right click, open in blast editor. We have to narrow down this corruption once again, but we're not going to do it for the intent of putting out the stockpile, we're going to do it for the intent of figuring out what the corruption actually is. So we're going to randomly disable 50% and load a corruption. Vert. Good. Oh, I did that wrong. Shoot, hit the wrong button. My hope is that it's just one memory, right? In which case I can almost just screenshot and write over into the blast generator. Cool, and in this case it is, which is great. So, we are specifically subtracting 1 from the source address. So I'm going to write that down somewhere into Google Chrome. Or no, I'll take a screenshot, that'll be easier. The emulation with that, but that's okay. Because we're just using screenshots right now. Okay, great, I have that up. So now, I want to go back to Sonic After Hours. And do we want to keep this corruption just as a test, or like as a note? I've actually never seen Sonic dunk. It's like an existential crisis. Why are we collecting the animals? What's the purpose? Anyways, let me... I don't want to save this corruption. This one isn't very interesting. And out of context, it's not very interesting either, so we're not going to save it. But we are going to see if we can manipulate our current corruption to include this. Which we might not even be able to, but I want to see if we can. So now we're going to open this corruption in the blast editor. Oh, did we not save it? We didn't save either of these, did we? No, we didn't. Shoot. We forgot to save them to stash. Well, that was a small waste of time. But, alright, so we're gonna break this down to its bare minimum. Again. Good thing it's not too much. Oh, it is a lot. Oh, I had it all. I scrolled down. Whoops. Oh. Now it's not a lot. Okay, so it's just those last two effects that we need. And I saved a third one on purpose here, because I would like to see if I could just edit the this one to add in the corruption that we want. So let's see if we can do that. The one we want is a subtract blast mode, which is great, from 68K RAM, which is great. Source address we're going to change to the hexadecimal value of FB59, and the parameter value is 1. So let's see if this achieves the effect we want. We're gonna load this corruption. And unfortunately it doesn't, but that's alright. It doesn't always have to work. But I do want to see, without these corruptions, if we properly did this. So let's load the corruption. And we did do it properly, because these are still red. We still notice that red effect, so we correctly edited the corruption. But unfortunately the effect that we're applying with the blacking out of the screen and with that sort of shadow effect, we don't see it in the end result. When we select these memory pools, we don't have any shadows, I believe, to begin with, so we don't see it on screen. But that's alright, we tried. What I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to send this corruption to the stash, which will now throw it into our stash history, and I'm going to remove the current corruption from a stockpile by removing this item. Going to select the one we just put in stash and call this one Sonic After Hours. And now we have this nice clean corruption within the stockpile. Unfortunately, I'm going to do that once again with 2 Sonics, so give me just a moment here. within the blast editor. Sorry, just getting things lined up here. Okay. So, to Sonic. Let's go ahead and remove some of these corruptions. And we'll make sure second Sonic comes around, which he does. Perfect. Second Sonic does not come around in this case. Good. No Sonic in this case. Oops, I messed up there. Sorry, just opening up my dashboard to make sure my bit rate's not dropping. Because it feels like it is, but it might not be. No, we're good. Alright. Load corruption. Since we know the corruption does two things, it first messes up Sonic Sprite. Oops. It messes up Sonic Sprite and drops that second Sonic in. We can assume that if Sonic isn't messed up, then the corruption isn't working. So in this case, we can assume that it is, which it is. Perfect. In this case, it's not, so we probably won't see second Sonic. And we don't. Good. Oh, you can line up second Sonic, shit. Alright. Okay, cool. And we're gonna save this by first sending it to the stash, which we didn't do before. We're gonna make sure we do it this time. We'll remove the previous note, which said there are two Sonics on the screen, both sharing the same ring pool if one dies. That's fine. We'll throw this new one on here. Call two Sonics again. And what's nice is it keeps the same note. I like that. There are two Sonics on the screen, both sharing the same ring pool. If one dies, they both die. I'm also going to note, wait a few seconds in place after starting, then move slightly left to bring the Sonics together. I'm going to do that as a hint. Okay. So we had our two corruptions so far. And we're going to now start some fresh corruptions. I accidentally paused it. Then pause it here. Now I really like that effect. That has cool coloration to it. I'm almost wanting to save this. Because I think what we can also do, and we can verify this, is we can add in that red corruption we were working on earlier. Ooh, I did that wrong. Oh god, but look at Sonic's face and stomach. That's just disturbing. Alright, let's go back. This one here. I'm gonna open this one in Blast Editor. And I just want to make sure at this very top corruption, we want to see if this one actually does affect anything. So we're going to disable it, go ahead and corrupt. And it doesn't affect anything, which is great. So what we're going to do is we're going to edit this corruption to be our red shading that we want. So we're going to change this to subtract. Does it say subtract? It does say subtract. Huh. Alright, 68K. Change the source address to be FB59 and load the corruption. And I believe, yeah, that should do it, but unfortunately it doesn't. Why, I'm not entirely sure. Could have something to do with how it's being drawn on the screen. We could try disabling everything and just enabling that one we just created. Oh, did I still have it disabled? I think I still have it disabled here. Wait, enable everything. Load. Oh no, that's great. Okay, no, we got it working. Awesome, alright, I'm happy with that. So let's go ahead and start knocking down these corruptions. I'm going to lock that layer because I know that this is one of the effects that I want, and we're going to keep knocking down the corruption a little bit more. Again, just to get to those bare minimum results. As you noticed a little bit earlier, I'm not sure if you did, but the game crashed as I ran along. Like, I got to here and it said bad memory read. We don't want that to happen when we run corruptions, because then, you know, the experience is ruined early, which isn't necessarily great. So we're gonna leave it like this. I notice also that after you die, these effects don't persist. I could be using the Hell Genie engine, which would have those effects persist after death, but for the time being, we're just going to stick with the Nightmare engine. And let's start removing some of the stuff from the description. Great. No matter what, we're always going to have the red effect since we locked that in place, so we don't have to worry about that one disappearing. And really, since it's just a color swap, this is pretty easy to run through and remove the extra bits of data. Okay, great. So it's one of these two. Let's try this one. Okay, so it's this one right here. And we should be able to still run the corruption without this disabled. Yep, perfect. So we're going to move that one. And there we go, we have our corruption. I may also add to this one if we find more effects that do that sort of shadow shading, but I'm liking this so far. It has a nice purple and red aesthetic to it. And it's a handcrafted corruption, which is something that you don't see a lot of, because I haven't seen a lot of it. Now, and a couple of enable for it. We'll call it Vibrant Green Hills. That sounds nice. So we're going to send this to the stash. Can't forget to do that. And we need to name it now. Vibrant Green Hills, we'll put in notes. This is only a color effect. Yeah, that's nice. Alright. And there's our Vibrant Green Hills. We got the red shading. Oh, unpause this. We got the red shading on the palm trees and the purple shading on everything else. I like that. And let's blast some more data. Interesting music effect. We got Sonic's second Sonic again, which is kind of common. It's funny how often second Sonic shows up, where you have two controllable Sonic characters. Sounds like the instruments got corrupted. Almost sounds like a cat. A little, I guess, steel guitar. Alright. You know what? I kind of like that one. Let me decide if I want to keep it. Shoot. Yeah, I want to keep it. Just because we also don't have any music one yet, and this one is kind of a nice music one. So we'll set this one to the blast editor. Always sanitize your corruptions. I started off by never sanitizing the corruptions, and I threw away a lot of good corruptions just because they weren't exactly how I wanted them to be. So this one can take a little bit longer to figure out what you want, because you have to listen for it. But at least it's right at the beginning of the song, which I'm happy with. Okay, great. I'm going to brought this down just to one singular instruction. We'll send this to stash, and we'll call this Meow Heals. And we're good to go on that. We'll blast some new data, and let me unpause it. Nope, it's not paused. Okay. Got second Sonic again. I love second Sonic. It's funny, the oddest corruptions become... Oh, what's going on here? The most popular ones, so the ones that keep showing up. Yes, that was Invincible Sonic. Oh, something I didn't try was re-rolling the Meow Heals one. We're gonna try that real quick. So re-roll this one. Nope, no luck on that. And let's also re-roll Vibrant Green Hills. Nope, nothing interesting there. Alright. Lots of bad memory reads. Also, neat sounding music one. I won't be throwing another one on the stockpile though. Unless it really catches my interest. Interesting start. Okay, if that would have kept happening, if like the entire stage started falling and repeating itself like over and over again. Oh, I loved it. But I think, yeah, it's only the one, unfortunately. Again, the music fades away and it's just the drums, which is kind of odd. And all the other sound effects die. Maybe it thinks I reached the end of the stage. Anyways. Bunch of address read errors. Ooh. That one went clown vomit real quick. Oh, but you can still kind of see layers to it. Like, you can see the background somewhere behind all this mess. Alright, I kind of like this one. Gotta think of a name for it, though. The sound effects are just awful. Alright, yeah, let's throw this one in the blast editor. So we'll select it within the stash history here. Open in the blast editor. And we'll start removing portions of this corruption to make sure it's stable. This, for example, I don't believe... Oh wait, the Sonic just... What did you just do there? Yeah, you just... That's not right. Not the effect we're looking for, but still an interesting one. Let's invert the ones that we removed. Load it. Yep, and that's what we're looking for. So we're going to remove the ones we disabled and disable some more. And we're going to keep trying to get that effect. Good. Good. We also did run into some auditory bugs a little bit earlier while running through the stage. I want to try to see if we can remove those, which this should have that effect. By editing all of those out. We just went the visual bug in this case, because that's the interesting part of it. Just 4 memory writes. Hey, what's up, Simply Amazing? Yeah, trying to destroy it, trying to see if I can see anything, see some level dimension beyond it, which is neat. I like that. Still runs alright. So we're gonna save this by sending it to our stash history. And now it's over here. We're gonna send this from our stash history to our stockpile. We'll name it something interesting like, shoot, what's an interesting name for this? Sonic's Vomitor. Something like that. I can think of something a little more clever later. An example of some other corruptions we got going on so far is this is musical one. We had a nice color effect to the background. We had 2 Sonics show up. Yeah, because it's read-only, so while we're corrupting the ROM in real time, like we can sort of just throw some corruptions at the game and sort of break it while it's running. And if we get an interesting result, we can save the game as is, and you can replay it at that point. So what I've been doing lately is I'm creating stockpiles of corruptions with, you know, some interesting effects that I like. And if other people want to download that stockpile and play those corruptions, they can replay them just as if it was a normal game. Or like, for example, there's 2 Sonics in this one, and if one Sonic dies, then they both die. Stuff like that. And there's another visual in this one. Sonic After Hours, so just coated the entire screen black, and you just see a couple shadows. Still playable too. Not a lot of these have been crashing too often, which I'm happy about. Alright, well, let's try creating some new corruptions here. We'll keep the same parameters so far with a Nightmare Engine and the intensity of 5. I'm liking that combo so far. Just a drum solo on this one. Okay, so unfortunately this crashed. However, I like that coloration. I kind of want to take that and throw it into my Sonic After Hours corruption. because those are two different visual effects, but they look the same. I might consider that. I'm gonna throw this into the stockpile and say, with brackets, source file for corruption editing, where I'm gonna use that as the source one. Kind of like the idea. Yeah, it's pretty neat. There's a couple people who do this kind of thing. I love creating stockpiles because other people get to play it, and I enjoy seeing that. Some of them, some games don't react very nicely. They start to screech, or they have some awful visual effects. Sonic Genesis is working pretty alright so far. I'm only corrupting one memory domain, and it's not, you know, crashing in an awful way. When it does crash, it's kind of gentle in a sense. It doesn't screech at you. It's been nice. And you get to play the game in sort of another way, which is neat. It has a new effect to it. This one just looks terrible. I also kind of like that pink coloration. I want to take that and put it to my other corruption, but I'm not going to. That's cursed. Alright. I like the Sega repeated over and over again. You can invert the colors. What's tricky about... Oh god, it goes again. Is in order to invert the colors, you would need to know something about the memory domains that you're messing with. So I would need to specifically write some memory to the visual... Oh man, that sounds awful. To the visual interpreter to change the colors. I would need to know a little bit more about the game ahead of time, like where the developers store their colors to invert them, stuff like that. This is sort of randomly corrupting and hoping you get some interesting results. If I wanted to go in and create a ROM hack, that's exactly what I would do. I'd invert the colors specifically, and I would do my own effects. But this is just sort of randomness, seeing what chaos can create. And I definitely want to keep this one, because that Sega repeated is just creepy. So, we're going to open this in the Blast Editor. We're going to pause it for a moment so we don't have to listen to that. And we're going to sanitize this corruption to make sure it's more stable. I like the visual corruption, so let's try to see if we can keep that too. There was a little screen tearing that I'd like to remove, and I definitely want to keep that auditory effect. So we're going to randomly disable half the effects here, and load the corruption, and unpause it. So I removed the visual corruptions, which I didn't want to do, but it kept the auditory ones. We're going to try to reroll our corruption disabling. Again, that unfortunately removed the second part, so we're going to reroll. There we go. And we just gotta keep re-rolling until we notice the screen has neither of the effects that we want, in which case the ones that we disable has both of our effects, like this case here. So in here we can invert the disabled and this should have both of our effects, and it does, so we remove disabled. And we're slowly cutting down on those corruptions we wrote to memory, making sure that the game's very stable and only has the two things that we want in it. And now that we're down about 5 or 6 memory writes, we can individually disable them and check out which specific ones are causing this corruption. So this one right here is causing the blue effect that we want, and we can remove those other two since they didn't do anything. Okay, so we know one of these two is causing that Sega sound to happen. And it's this one right here. So now we can remove everything else. Yep, essentially. Just blasting it with as much memory in a variety of different ways. This specific engine is just blasting memory, changing values with, in this case, tilt values or just randomness. There's a couple different engines that like backup data and write after a couple steps. Some other ones that will freeze the engine or freeze a memory address so it doesn't allow it to change. A couple different ways you can mess with that. And there we go. We have our 2 effects, 1 visual effect, 1 creepy Sega effect, and the game is very playable and will not crash. Or if it does crash, it won't be, it'd be understandable. Unfortunately, we do have that sort of auditory corruption, not the Sega one, but sort of a bad music one. But I think that goes hand in hand with the Sega corruption, so we can't remove that, unfortunately. But I'm happy with the results on this. So I'm going to send the results of this to the stash, which will throw it into our stash stockpile. Or stashish, I should say. I'll throw it into the stockpile. So we'll call this one Curse Sega. And now we can start with a fresh corruption. This will mess with the level design a bit. While it looks like the hills and everything still exist, yeah, they do exist, but you just can't see them. Huh. How about that? And the bridge. This one kind of looks snowy, or like the trees are glistening. Huh. That was an odd camera bug, but nothing there. Alright, we're seeing interesting corruptions a little less frequently, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the intensity from 500 to 800, which might crash a little more often, but we might get some more interesting corruptions like that. Yeah, it might have been. I might have missed that though. The middle background is transparent. Yeah, actually that does make sense, because it does lay it out in layers. Definitely a neat one. Oh, this one, the floor isn't collidable. Yeah. And when we get to these higher values of intensity when we're creating these corruptions, it's even more important to sanitize our corruptions, because we will run into crash seconds after running. I also hide the blast editor, because I just noticed it's overlapping a bit. There we go. And what we're going to try is we're going to decrease the intensity back to 500, and I'd like to, right now we're just doing tilt values for our blast type, which means it just goes to a random address and increments or decrements a value at that address. We're going to switch this back to just random data writes. It will not increment or decrement, it will just write a random value to it. Which I was having more luck with the tilt values before, but I'd like to see what this produces. Lots of music ones. I like that. I love the shading. I love when this happens. It has such a neat aesthetic to it. Alright, this one has Sonic all grayed out, or barred out I should say. Not stockpile worthy, but cool to look at. Oh, Sonic is a ring! Oh, I don't believe it. You hit A to switch between ring mode and Sonic mode. Oh, what? Wait, this has to be like a debug mode. There's no way... what is happening there? That has to be some kind of debug thing, right? Why is that a thing? Yeah, because you hit A to change values. Maybe it's the level editor. That must be it. Is there a level editor? Well, this is definitely getting thrown into the stockpile as long as that's not part of the game itself. Yeah, you can't edit that. How about that? Could do a Sonic prop hunt. Yeah, I kind of do the opposite. Do you do ROM hacks yourself? ROM hacks are pretty awesome. Because that's creativity to begin with. I'm relying on just randomness to create my creativity. I'm not creating it myself. Whereas, you know, creating the right tile sets... Oh, what did I do there? I don't know what to think. Creating the right tile sets, creating the right, you know, new mechanics or anything like that, that involves creativity in itself. Which is an awesome skill set, one that I do not pride myself in. Yeah, it looks like it's a tile map, and it's odd that I can control it. I don't know if there's a debugging mode. I should Google it. Check that out. Oh yeah, there is a debugging mode, so if you hit up, down, left, right, ring chime can be heard in the start menu, which will open debug menu. Okay, so... Alright. It looks super neat. Out of context, it looks like someone just enabled the debug mode, and then put that into the corruption stockpile, and that isn't what this is. So unfortunately, I'm not going to keep it, but that's cool looking, and I like it. It's cool it happened in real time, because I didn't even know that existed until I saw it. So we're gonna create some corruptions here. Yeah, I can definitely imagine it's hard, but definitely fun and awesome when it comes out. I mean, more power to anyone that does that. It's fantastic. The results are great, and as long as it doesn't get taken down by DMCA copyright violations, more power to people who do it. Alright, so a little bit of a camera bug there. Some interesting overwrites. It kind of looks like it's raining, to be honest. I like that. Let me see that again. It looks like, does it happen progressively? No, only when I change the screen. Back here. Okay, it's cool to look at, but is it interesting enough to throw into the stockpile? It's unplayable, unfortunately. Like, you can almost make stuff out, like I can tell those are spikes. but I think I'm gonna leave this one not on the stockpile. Cool look at though. I definitely enjoy that one. So I'll blast another one. Oh, that one opened up the demo. That's funny. I'll just remove the sound, which is a little eerie, but alright. Sound Hill, yeah. That's a good name for that because it's Green Hill. That is clever, I like that. Oh, this one, he doesn't roll. Wait, stop rolling. Shoot, if that was permanent, that'd be fantastic. That one is a different soundtrack. Alright. So it accesses another part of the game's soundtrack. Always neat. And we're going to keep that. We're going to throw that on the stockpile. Because that is tricky, to rewrite the address of the current song file to access another song file. I dig it. So we're going to open this one in the Blast Editor. And let me review that for the screen. Yeah, boss music, always cool. Definitely. And we're going to see if we can just bear... We have a lot of visual bugs, as you can tell. A lot of screen tears. No, you're fine. So I want to see if I can remove those visual bugs. While they do kind of add to it, it doesn't pertain to the corruption itself. We're looking just for the music corruption here. Oh, but I actually did that the wrong way. Let me reopen Best Corruptor here. Okay, there we go. And we're just sanitizing the corruption now, removing all of our other memory writes, because we only need the one. And luckily this is actually going pretty quick, which I dig. Okay, we narrowed it just down to 2. Let's see which one it is. Okay, it's this one right here, is the memory writes that creates this effect, which is 8C to the address F00B. So we're going to send this to our stash, and throw it in our stockpile, and we'll call it, you know, shoot. Green boss, why not? Alright, and we'll create another corruption. This almost looks like a new season in Green Hills. It's like a fall, when all the grass is dying. kind of like the look of that. I kind of want to throw that into... Yeah, why not? It's fall green hills. We got a lot of other bugs going on, like you can hear some auditory ones, but I just want the tile set in this case, so... Open this in the blast editor. I should say just want the palette in this case. And we're gonna see if we can just knock that out. Yeah, it's like 2 different seasons, that's neat. Alright, and there is our 1 memory of rights. That creates this effect. Send that to the stash, throw it into the stockpile, and call this Fall in Green Hills. Great! And we're going to clear history since it's getting kind of full, and create some new corruptions. Helicopter Green Hills. Going too fast. Oh, it rotated. Oh, look at that. It went all the way around. Alright. Oh, it's got some neat 3D effect to it. Yep, song's definitely messed up. You can hear a lot of messed up music. I really like that 3D, because it's only the one point back here that it's drawing from, and then everything else kind of extends out from it. I don't even know what the point is, actually. What the object is. It's just a tile. Yeah. Huh. Alright, well, it looks awesome. I'm not gonna throw it on the stockpile, but neat nonetheless. No, I don't think I did. There's a creepy face. Also, this is like murky green water. So this is like a swamp for green hills. I like this one. More color changes, I love color changes. So why not? We'll throw this in the blast editor. I'll have to go back and check that out. Yeah, thank you. Alright, and there is our single instruction for creating the murky green water. So we'll send that to the stash, throw that in the stockpile, and call this toxic sludge. Yeah, toxic sludge. And we'll grab some more corruptions. Yes. Yeah. Oh, there's another one of those, like, awful visual ones. Unfortunately, this one crashes. But we already got one saved, so alright. Yeah, it's probably gone now, but I'll go back and, I already put a, what would you call it, a timestamp, I think? Or, a marker on Twitch, so I'll check that out a little bit later. Oh, it adds another layer. Oh, look at that. What even are those things? Some half wall texture. Don't think I'm gonna throw it on the stockpile, but it looks awesome. Adds another layer on top of things. Okay, this one is pink water. Not gonna throw it on the stockpile because we already have toxic sludge, but it does have some nice aesthetic to it as well. Oh, what's wrong with Sonic's eyes? Oh! He looks out of it. Okay, that's weird. He moves much faster. And he has a neat, like, teal look to him. What was that? I wanna go... He doesn't roll as often, he just kinda runs. Yep. Oh no. Okay, I want to save this one. Jesus. Oh yeah, absolutely. Thanks for stopping by, man. And enjoy your stream. I hope it goes well. Alright, I'm gonna throw this into the blast editor. Looking specifically for that. I also actually removed the effects where he was running faster, so the teal does not go hand in hand with that, which is interesting. Okay. I hope we didn't. Do we actually disable that already? Enable everything, load corruption. Okay, no, that's still there. So we're gonna try to preserve both of those corruptions. Fast Sonic, extra fast Sonic, and teal. Okay, this one's just fast. That one's good. Okay, at this point we can just manually add in corruptions to see which ones we need to take out. So that one I just added was the fast ability, so we're going to lock that one in place. And we're going to try removing some of these. And this one right here is the coloration we're looking for. So we'll keep those and remove everything else and we should be good to go. Yep, perfect. There we go. There's our perfectly crafted corruption, where Sonic just goes too fast. Alright, we are going to take that from the stash history. Whoop. Oh no, we're going to need to send it to stash. So send it to stash. Right click from stash history and bring it over to our stockpile. And we'll call it Sonic the Teal Hedgehog. Hedgehog. How do you spell hedgehog? There we go. Hedgehog. Okay. Alright, we're good to go to move on to some new corruptions. And also, something we haven't done in a while is actually re-rolled the corruptions we already created, so we're going to do that now, just see if we get anything new from it. We'll start with Sonic the Teal Hedgehog. No new visuals and no new mechanics, so no worries on that. We'll try Toxic Sludge. Mostly the same. We'll try Fall and Green Hills. Ooh, we do get some new colors for this one. Okay, we get a brown coloration. Not gonna keep that, but it looks neat. Brown, red. And that looks like the extent of our colors. Oh, some black, alright. That actually, that last one, looked even like a better fall than the one we already had. So this one. Compared to this one. So, yellow, orange. I like this one better, actually. This one looks more like fall. Let us bring this over. Fall Green Green Hills 2, we'll remove this one. We'll call this one just Fall Green Green Hills. Okay, great. So there's a nice positive for rerolling your corruptions, is you'll get something that looks a little bit better than what you thought. A little more in the way that you're looking for. And now this truly, I mean, to me it looks like fall. I'm very happy with the results on this. And for rerolling, it was only changing the corruptions, really the memory addresses that we were throwing. It wasn't having new corruptions. So really it was just changing the palette swap that we were working on. So yeah, I'm happy with that. We also had Green Green Boss, which might be more music effects. Not much though. We'll try changing Curse Sega. Nothing there, which is to be expected. I wanted to mess with this one to take the colors out of it. I haven't had a chance to do that yet though. I might not, I might take it out. This one's Vomit Sonic. I don't think we're gonna notice if anything changes in this, just because of how messed up it already is. So we won't bother with that. And we're back to the beginning. So, let's make some more corruptions. And honestly, I'm so happy with the results I've had from just the Nightmare Engine on 500 intensity. I'm gonna keep it that way. But I really should mess with the other domains, shouldn't I? Let's try just seeing what happens with Z80. Z80 domain. We'll load our fresh save. Yeah, let's try corrupting it with this. What did I do wrong? Oh, I didn't select the memory. I don't know necessarily what Z80 is. It looks like it has some sound effects. Has some control over the music, I should say. Alright, so I think this is mostly just auditory corruptions, so we won't worry about messing with the Z80 domain. And the last one we should mess with before we switch back to 68K is the VRAM, and we already know what VRAM is. It's just the visual effects that are going to be on screen. So if we try messing with this, we'll see a lot of nonsense happening. Unfortunately, these corruptions won't stay after we finish, as soon as we change level, or as soon as we even hit the start button usually, or anything that will bring us out of this menu. Unfortunately, not in this game. The visual corruptions will disappear. So we usually do this as an afterthought. If we have a sort of messed up chaotic corruption, we might throw some visual corruptions on top of it, just to add to the effect. But in terms of mechanics, in terms of gameplay, the visual effects won't be messing with it very much. So, with that being said, we're going to switch back to 68K RAM, a little fresh corruption here, and we'll try blasting it with some more 500 intensity data. And we're actually still just using the random blast type. We're going to switch that to random tilt just to use both tilt values and random values in our in our corruptions. I guess Sonic is mostly just lines. Alright, not too much there. What we're going to try now, which we haven't done in a while, is load our fresh save. And we're going to check with the different engines what we can achieve. We're going to first start with the Hell Genie engine, which will have effects persist after our corruption finishes. That intensity is limited by the amount of max cheats that you allow upon the corruption, which we're going to up that to 200, and we're going to drop the intensity down to 200 just to match that value. We're going to keep it with 68k RAM, and let's see if we can get some interesting corruptions from this. Couple auditory ones. Oh, this one, Sonic Sprite just flips. And it crashes. Okay, this one has a very neat sky that I'm going to definitely take. I love the skybox on that. Alright, we're actually going to go and do that. So we'll take this one out of the stash history by right-clicking it and opening it in the Blast Editor. And our Blast Editor is on screen now. With that Blast Editor, we're going to slowly whittle down this corruption to its bare components by removing half the corruption, seeing if the effect that we want persists, and it does in this case, and removing the ones that we deselected from this pool. And we're quickly just running through this, removing all of the unnecessary corruption. Okay, and now we have it to our bare minimum. This is the corruption that is creating this visual effect on the sky, and nothing else in the game has actually changed in this case. And also, I believe this will also persist after death, so let me die. Let me go and die here. There we go. So this should persist, hopefully. Because we're using Hell Genie, which means that... Oh, we actually get a different effect. Okay. Since Hell Genie, keeps the value that you set to it. I want to die again to see if it changes from red. Okay, so it stays on red. Still neat. We're going to keep this. We'll send this to our stash. We'll bring it from the stash to our stockpile, and we'll call this Night Sky Skybox. And I'll add a note to this corruption just saying, after death, sky turns red. Because that is an observation that I made. Great, and now we can set some more data. Okay, that kind of had an interesting effect at first. Yeah, it looks like Mario just rockets ahead. Now, normally, since we are getting too many corruptions, I would up the amount of intensity that we're using for the Hell Genie. Ooh, this is interesting one. Alright, I might keep that one. I have to run it again to make sure the same results happen. Anyways, we don't want to increase the intensity of Hell Genie too much, because every single step, the data that you're writing with Hell Genie must be repeated, must be rewritten. And every step, if you're writing, 500 bytes of data, that can be a lot to take. It's got a little corruption here. And yeah, Pierce is just... Is it running? Yeah, doing anything. So I like this one. I can't decide if I want to turn on the stockpile or not. You can't do anything? Oh, excuse me. A little tired. You can't do anything outside of watching what's going on. But then again, like, the screen tearing is interesting. I don't even really want to sanitize it, because it's not gonna... It doesn't look like it's corrupting or crashing. No, I'm not gonna give it though. Because outside of this, you can't do anything, sadly. Yeah. Still neat though. Our score's getting all messed up. Now we're in debug mode again. There we go. Our score looks like craft an alien. What is that? Alright, I'm curious how this Hell Genie engine will work on the Z80 RAM, so we're gonna get that a real quick check. And yeah, it's just gonna have some audio corruptions with that Z80 chip. Maybe some not so nice sounds in that. There we go, that's Sega again. Alright, let us try switching back. Load. And we ought to select pools that are, well, the Resident Corruptor selects pools that are rewind safe. So, if I hide the blast editor here. We have a couple other memory pools that we can still mess with over here in the real-time corruptor. MD carts, boot ROM, CRAM, VS RAM, and the M68K bus. Now, I don't know what most of these do. But I do know that I don't want to mess with boot RAM, for example. I don't know what CRAM is, and I kind of want to mess with it. Messing with it might not allow me to rewind in game, meaning it will actually crash. However, it's unlikely that it'll actually crash entirely. Just in case, so I'm going to save my stockpile for the time being. I don't want to lose this, so I'm going to save this as a Sonic stockpile. It's somewhere on my computer. And let's go ahead and start I saved that, right? Save? Yeah. Let's go ahead and start messing with CRAM, for example, just to see what it is. CRAM makes me think clock RAM, but I don't know if that's true. What am I using? I'm using Hedgehog. That's not what I want to use right now. I want to use just Nightmare. So CRAM doesn't actually appear to be doing much. Oh, alright. Let's try VSRAM. After we don't die. Let's load. Now we're getting some effects here and there. Let's try this with LG because we want those effects that it's making to persist. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. That's a messed up screen. Very neat. Well, I'm curious what this would look like if we do Toxic Sludge, for example. Manual blast this, yeah. It'll like zoom in on the river and whatnot. That looks neat. I don't think there's anything that's gonna be worth to the stockpile, but it looks cool and it's nice to know we can mess with it. I don't want to mess with the bus, don't want to mess with the boot ROM. Let's try MD cartridge. Is that the cartridge itself that is? I don't want to mess with that either because it's essentially the ROM. Alright, so we know the memory pools that we're not supposed to touch, but we touched them. And we're proud of doing it. We're next going to switch to the distortion engine. We're going to switch straight to the glitch harvester just to see which parameters will actually create an effect that we're looking, well, create an effect at all, because distortion can be tricky with the glitch harvester because you only get one manual blast of it. We're going to try raising the intensity, the distortion delay to 120 and raising the intensity to 1000. We may need to lower that delay some more, but we'll see. Yeah, I think I'm going to. Let's lower it back down to 50. And bring the intensity up to 2000. Because I'm feeling antsy. Lots of auditory effects. That's alright, so we're not going to do much with this. Let's try skipping ahead. We'll try the freeze engine, which will freeze memory addresses with the values that they set. Limited by the max freezes value, so intensity of 2000 will only do intensity of 200. It's got some cool level things going on, like the bridge is in the wrong place. Some things missing here. Get another bridge. Shoot. Alright, nothing too much here, so we're going to move on. We're going to switch to the pipe engine. I think this is also limited by the maximum amount of pipes, so we're going to increase that. However, we can't have too many because it could be big performance issue, but we're gonna move it up to 80. And bring the intensity up to 3000. I don't believe that has a factor in it though. Alright, we're not seeing too much of this either. It looks like we really hit the sweet spot with using the Nightmare Engine and using the 68K RAM memory pool off the bat. That seemed to be the one that helped or interacted best with this ROM. As a last check, we're going to switch to the Vector Engine, and we're going to just manual blast for this one. We are going to load our ROM though, or save state I should say, and see if there are any vectors in this game that we can mess with. There may not be. Yeah, okay. Some camera stuff. And we're not saving this in the glitch officer, we're just doing some rapid prototyping to see if we get any interesting results from this. And I don't think I want to spend too much time on this though, because I'm not seeing, yeah, not too much. More crashes more than anything. So we'll go back to the Nightmare Engine, the tried and true. And I think we're using 800 for the Nightmare Engine. That was our beginning value that we were messing with. No, you have 500. Let's try 800 with randomness. Random till. Let's try 1000 with random till. Yeah. With 1000 we're gonna get a lot more crashes. That's normal. Alright. We may want to lower the intensity a bit. I just want those amazing corruptions, you know? Let's try 5000. With just increments. Just increments. Nothing much. Just tilt values. Which I feel like would crash less often, but maybe I'm wrong in saying that. They sure had a good air system. They definitely did. Let's bring this down to 800. I'll give in. Alright, we may be more or less reaching to the bottom of the barrel with this. In terms of possible corruptions, at least for the time being. So I may begin wrapping it up here. In the next 5, 4, 3, 2. 1 and 0. Alright, and with that, we're gonna go back through our stockpile, double check the ones we created. We didn't create too many, but I'm happy with the ones that we did get. So we got Sonic After Hours, still working. You can see the little Sonic moving around down there. All the trees are lit up in just an ever so slightly way. And yeah, the stage is just mostly black. Next we have 2 Sonics, which has 2 different versions of Sonic. Let's see if we can separate them. Actually, put them together. Let's re-click this. So those are 2 Sonics. And they both have the same control set, same moveset. However, if one dies, like that one just did, we both die. And we share the same rings and stuff like that. So it's a more difficult version of Sonic, tripling the entire game with that. We have Vibrant Green Hills, which was my first attempt at bringing 2 corruptions together. I saw the red shade of the palm trees and I wanted to throw that into this purple kind of looking world. So I did put it together. I like how it looks. And yeah, we have Vibrant Green Hills. Next we have Meow Hills, which is, I think, our first and only audio corruption that we decided to keep, just because it sounds like a cat meowing. Which I dig. It's got a nice steel guitar vibe to it. Next we have Sonic's Vomitory, which is this awful looking one. And I found this still interesting because there's still all 3, or 2 in this case, 2 layers that you can see, the background layer and the foreground layer. And they're independent of one another, and they both have visual corruptions of their own. So you can still see both layers by like the meshing of the 2 together. Yeah, I thought it just looks cool. This one we're going to delete, which is just a source file. I was going to throw this into Sonic After Hours, but do I have time? Yeah, I got time. Let me do that real quick. Because you don't know necessarily if it's going to work or not. But I'm curious if it will, because it will if it is. It does. So let's try to break this down. Looks like they're having individual corruptions going on, because if you look at the bottom left of the screen there, you have one glowing character. So we have none, but if we invert... Okay, well, we can do that. We got a lot to corrupt through. Okay, so I believe it's these 2 put together. Oops, I'm sorry, it's these 2 put together. Not that one. Yep, okay. So one to color the screen black, I imagine? Yep. And the other one to apply this sort of looking effect, this light show. So I'm going to take a quick screenshot of this. And save it somewhere so I can take a look at it while I'm editing. Okay. So now, with that, we're going to go back to Sonic After Hours and see if we can make this have that sort of movement effect that I like. We're going to open this in the Blast Editor now. Oh, something we didn't do, which is too late to do. was to save that source file in the stash, but that's alright, we don't need to, because we're not going to keep it anyways. Anyways, here's Sonic After Hours. And really, do we need all 3 of these effects? Try one of these. Yeah, one for the coloration. Oh, that's right, and we tried to put this in, which didn't work, so we're not going to do that. We just need these 3. Wait a minute, what did I do? I remember the wrong one. Let us take this away and open that blast editor again. That's the one we can remove. And I'm not going to even remove it because we can use that to write to the screen. And we're going to look at the screenshot I have now. I didn't label them, but it looks like this address right here writes the screen black in both of our cases, which makes sense since the effect that they both had where the entire screen was blackened out. However, this source address is different, which also makes sense. This is the one we're going to change, and we're going to change it to source address FAAD, and the parameter value is still 1, and we're going to include it now, and load the corruption. And look at that! That worked! We have many more visual effects on screen. I love it! That came out fantastic! Oh, I'm so happy with the results of that. The coin, the rings glitter. That's great. It looks great. I'm happy. Alright. Before I forget, let me make sure I, Wasabi Ray, what's going on? I spent so long, editing a corruption just specifically the way I want it, and it looks like this, where the entire screen's blackened out, and I got a sort of glowing neon effect. I'm happy with that. I got a couple going on. I got 2 Sonics, both work independently of one another. I got Vibrant Green Hills, kind of color going on here. Some deep color palettes. Sonic's Vomit Tour, just an awful visual effect. I got Cursed Sega, this one you might like. Yeah, and it keeps repeating over and over again, like a cursed game. Or it should repeat again. Yeah, there it is. We got lucky and had the music change on us, so gotta change the music palette for Green Hills. We changed the background water to look like it's Toxic Sludge, so that looks like Toxic Sludge back there. We got Sonic the Teal Hedgehog, which is the superior version of Sonic. He runs a lot faster. And he has blue tip dyed hair. Original character, don't steal. We have Fall and Green Hills, which I was happy with. It looks like it's fall. All the greenery is changed to slight orange tint. You know, looks neat. And the last one we have is a night box. So the skybox changed to night. And that's what we created for this stream. That's our stockpile. I'll be throwing that on Google Drive, and feel free to download that after the video has been uploaded to YouTube. And yeah, let me go and finish up here. Thanks for stopping by Wasabi Raid. Wasabi's Raid. What are you guys up to over there? Nope, I don't have music queued up. I should have music queued up. Here we go. Okay, cool. I think I was recently seeing Wasabi's up to his 18K now. can't wait for that 20K stream. Where are you at now, Wolfie?
Hey, crank up the volume and wake up the neighbors. Are you hearing this or what? Is your heart pounding with the beat? Am I getting through to you? Show me what you got. I'm counting on y'all.
Thanks everyone for stopping by. Close up the stream now. Go and see where I find someone to host now. Just a moment.
It's a brand new day in Tokyoto. Headlining the news is the recent statement from Goji Rokaku on the graffiti gangs plaguing the city. Quote, "My Rokaku forces are on patrol in all major metropolitan areas to make sure these terrorists are behind bars where they belong."
We gotta do an cross game, which looks pretty neat. Let me... I don't know what Premiere means, but I'm gonna host this guy. Alright, thanks again everyone. Have a good night.